that we live. Because racism, sectarianism, inhumanity, lack of solidarity, those things they're like ragweeds. If you take your eye off them, in any time, in any place, in any generation, they will reassert themselves every single day. So I think that's the overall position. This is not a job of work that needs to be done in terms of a project. This is not a piece of work that starts on one day and ends on another day and we pat ourselves on the back and go home. I suppose for me that was a lesson of the civil rights movement as a student. I thought, right, when I get this sorted, we get Paul Arthur and Michael Farr, and we let Michael McLaughlin and all the generation older than us see how to do it properly. We just get back to our studies and go on and be professional people and reap the benefit of the equality. And Bob's your uncle, and nobody misses. By the time we get back, Paul, nobody will have noticed we weren't at our lessons. It looks very naive now, but it took some time to realise that once you embark on a journey of achieving equality and social justice and human rights for yourself and your fellow and sister human beings, that is a lifetime's work in which the best you can really expect is to hand that work on to the generation that comes after you. And it took me 50 years to figure that out, and I'm smart. I don't mean I was smart since I was 11. It took me 50 years to figure it out. Where did I first intellectually understand sectarianism? Probably when I was actively involved in the civil rights movement. It wasn't about sectarianism, it was about civil rights. But the reaction of the state to that simple demand for equality of citizenship, which is the same as is being asked by our new populations, equality of access, equality of opportunity, equality of citizenship. That's all that was asked for. There was no border question, there was no national question being discussed. The reaction of the state from the top to the bottom was sectarian. The reaction of the police was sectarian. The reaction of the government was sectarian. The reaction of civil society and the Protestant population was sectarian. And we have to get that bit straight so we understand when we're tackling racism. The problem isn't with your community. The problem isn't with the black community. It's not with the Polish community. The problem is that the people born and bred in Northern Ireland for 20 generations, still fighting over who owns what field, are fundamentally racist. We don't know that. And in a way it doesn't make us bad people. Why are we racist? Because we think we know a great deal of history and we know none. We know none. Because we all know the history of this island, because it affects and has affected our lives for generations. But we don't know the history of the world in the same narrative. Why is Africa poor and Europe rich? Because the governments of Europe, the entrepreneurs of Europe, the armies, soldiers and sailors of Europe travelled to Africa, raped, plundered and stole the wealth and the people, enslaved them and used them as commodities. Now if you ask us what did we do, you ask the average citizen what did we do, they see the history of Europe and Africa as we went to Africa, what did we go on? The missions. We went to save the poor black babies We sent them pennies so that they would know our God. And we thought that would help their lot. We sent them money to buy wheelbarrows and other bits and pieces to alleviate their poverty, because we were good people. And that's how we understand history. So we don't understand racism in the way we understand sectarianism for a very simple reason. We are the victims of sectarianism, the whole community here, and we are the beneficiaries of racism. Do I need to say any more about that? That's why we need to understand if we are to change that. We have to change how we view the past, not simply how we view the present and the future, or we don't understand the need to fundamentally change. Now, you can't change attitudes overnight. We know that from the civil rights movement. You can change behaviours very quickly. Any mother or father in the room knows that in order to protect a child, once it starts to toddle, you have got to moderate that child's behaviour fairly quickly, or it will fall into fires, walk into the road. So if it's not difficult for individual parents to moderate the behaviour of children and toddlers, it should not be beyond the power of government to moderate the behaviour of its citizens. We have legislation. It's not worth the paper it's written on, because it's not enforced properly. And we have a Human Rights Commission. We have had good and have a great Human Rights Commissioner. Our